Hello, my name is Eric Putkonen. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm talking about desiring to give up desire. This is a conundrum some seekers get themselves into, and I'm going to cover a couple different aspects of it today. One, literally the desiring to give up desire aspect, but also towards the end of the video I'm also going to be calling into question, is it desire that we're trying to give up? Because desire is kind of a vague term in English. But the first part, desiring to get rid of desire. We get stuck in that because in the spiritual search, we may bump into a teaching or something that will say, well, we should give up all desire. Or the enlightened is without desire. Or to some way, we're told desire is bad and we need to get rid of it all. And so, the desire to get rid of desire arises. See, this is much like the discourses with Buddha, because the Buddha would, for example, say, you suffer because of desire, which is actually a poor translation, which I'll get at the end of the video. But give up desire. And the seeker will go off and meditate and practice and do what they can. But eventually they'll come back and go, well, now the problem is I'm desiring not to desire. And of course, the Buddha or the teacher would go, that's excessive. You've gone too far. Because desiring to not desire, of course, is to create a new desire. You're adding to your desires, not decreasing them. Instead, when they're saying to let go of desire or to cease desiring, you are just letting go of as much desire as you are able. And so you are just letting go of what you are able to let go of. And if that is too much or too vague, think about it in terms of ceasing to desire to get rid of more desire than you're able. And if you're still stuck, then give up the desire to be successful in giving up desire. There is a letting go, coming to stillness. This is actually, I think, very similar to when they talk about the revolutions of the mind. Because in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, I think the second line says, yoga is the cessations of the revolutions of the mind. And so you can picture as if it was a bicycle wheel and you're spinning it. Now, similarly, this could be desire just as well. But let's say you're fueling desire. And so how do you stop? Well, if you try to manipulate this wheel in any way, it doesn't really stop the wheel from turning. It may change its direction. It may slow it down. It may modify the revolutions of the wheel. But at no point can you stop the wheel by manipulating the wheel. By giving it a little shove or touch here or there doesn't stop the wheel from turning. The way the wheel of thought ceases is to let it go. And let it grind down on its own. And so, similarly to this idea of you can't be adding energy. Any energy you add into trying to stop the revolutions of the mind will only agitate the mind and keep it going. Similarly, any desiring to get rid of desire just amplifies desire. And so what you do is, instead of desiring so much to let go of desire, just cease desiring in terms of letting go of more than what you can let go of in terms of desire. You don't need to let go of it all. Just let go of what you can. Or, like I said, let go of or cease desiring to be successful in letting go of desire. In this way, you're just letting it go. You're no longer trying to manipulate. Desiring is a grabbing on, a clinging. This is what they really mean by desire in Buddhism, for example. Because depending on the language, it's trishna. And trishna is actually, can mean desire, but I think desire is a vague word in English. Trishna more specifically means thirsting, craving, clinging. Or you can almost think about it in terms of psychological jargon, blocking. You're basically stuck. And so it does not mean all wanting. Because I think part of the trap in trying to let go of desire, instead of it being more of a middle ground, a center, you're no longer, you're letting go of as much desire as you're able. And you're ceasing to desire to let go of more desire than you can. You're basically letting it go. And that brings a certain stillness to it because you're no longer trying to manipulate. But wanting isn't particularly a manipulation. Although in English, wanting is fairly equivalent with desire. And so, if you ask me to play cards, and doesn't matter what game we play, but let's say you pick a card, say cribbage, a card game, and we start playing. Now the game is only fun if both of us are trying to win. Because if you're so aloof and so unconcerned with the game that you're not even trying, it becomes not much fun for the other person. And it never was much fun for you. But if you try to win, and the reason you try to win is because there's a wanting to win. And so there's a want to win. I would like to win, so I'm going to try. This doesn't necessarily have the same clinging, the same stuckness as someone who needs to win. Someone who wants to win and someone who needs to win, I hope you can see, are two very different things. And in this way, it is possible for someone to want to win, and so they try to win, and play the game without having any thirsting, longing, craving, needing to win. And so in that way, the game is enjoyed in the moment. The whole game is all about playing the game and enjoying it in the moment. Not some future goal. You're not trying to accomplish something. It's like, I'm enjoying playing this game. I'm enjoying the challenge. Part of the challenge arises in trying to overcome challenge by trying to win. And so doing, you may win or lose. But if you lose, you're not going to suffer because you are not craving, longing, thirsting, needing to win. Instead, there was just a wanting to win. It would have been nice if I won. But I totally accept not winning. I totally accept losing. That's no big deal. I'm not less so because of the loss. It was just a loss of the game. You win some, you lose some. But all the enjoyment was in the playing. But for one that has trishna, They need to win. They long to win. There's a craving to win. And so if they lose, they may become rather upset. It may actually tinge the rest of the time together with them, or even the rest of the day, where they're just upset that they lost. Their life is somehow diminished, or even themselves personally feel like they've lost. They're less so because they lost. This is what it means to be stuck, attached, clinging, thirsting for that win. You need to remember that what you're trying to get rid of is that stuckness, that clinging, that repelling, the attachment. And not so much the wanting, because wanting has its place. There is no issue with saying you want something for supper. It's like, if my spouse came home and says, "What do you want for supper?" And I'm like, I think I could go for, and you just throw something out there. That kind of wanting isn't really what you need to get rid of when they say, "Oh, you should get rid of all desire or be without desire," or, however you want to put it. That's not the point. The whole point is not to be totally untouched by the world, but that you don't need it to be other than it is. And in so doing, you are not suffering. You do not get what you want. If you don't get what you want, you're still perfectly content and happy. It's a very loose wanting, in terms of it's a free wanting, not bound by attachment. You're not clinging. It's like, I must have this. It's kind of it'd be nice to have that. If I don't have it, that's fine too. And in that way, it's possible to find that suffering diminishes, because it's that clinging, that blocking, that thirsting is what causes suffering. We're resisting what is. And so, to summarize very quickly, trying to play with getting rid of all desire is fine, but only try to give up as much desire as you're able. Do not desire to get rid of more desire than you are able, and do not desire to be successful in letting go of desire. Just let it all go. And in this way, you can then watch out for where you're stuck, where there's a block, where there's clinging, repelling. And that way, life will reveal where the attachments lie. It's something else to be let go of, something else to be seen for what it is. In terms of, could you ever even keep it? Is it really something you could keep forever? Obviously not. If you really looked at it and came to terms with the impermanence of all things. And so, just some ideas to play with. But I thought the desiring not to desire, it's almost a classic phrase you hear, because it's a conundrum many fall into. But if you got any questions, comments, please post below. Until next time, thank you much.